Several years ago, my husband and I decided that we were leaving the rat race of the big city and moving to the Rocky Mountains. We ended up here in Southwest Colorado and never looked back. Is it your dream to move to the mountains someday? Then this video is for you. I'm sure you've already started planning. You've probably picked out the mountain town you want to move to, began searching on the MLS, looking for homes, and maybe even looking at builders or remodelers, because you know that you're probably going to have to either build or renovate at some point. If we haven't met, I'm Christine Hartzell. I'm the principal designer at Mountain Luxe Interiors, where we specialize in elevated mountain living, helping our clients take their projects from initial vision to the big reveal. When I started designing homes here in the San Juan Mountains, I learned that mountain home projects were no joke. The logistics are harder, the seasons are shorter, and the stakes are much higher. Most people think that hiring a designer for their mountain home is a luxury expense, something they can cut to save money. But after years of designing homes, especially here in the mountains, I've learned that saving that money often costs homeowners twice as much in mistakes, delays, and just pure decision fatigue. Raise your hand if you'd rather avoid that. So in this video, I want to talk you through the real costs of managing a project on your own versus having a trusted partner to guide you. Not just the dollars, but the mental load and the stress and energy that it quietly steals from your everyday life. And not only that, but the creative design details that get left out of the finished home. And stay with me till the end, because I'm going to share with you a couple ways that you can get the guidance you need for your mountain home project, even if full service design is not what you're looking for. Now, let's get back to that dream you have of living in the mountains. Mountain life is about peace and quiet, gathering with family, hiking, camping, and enjoying nature, right? But the process of getting there can turn chaotic real fast if you don't have a clear plan. Now, when I say chaotic, I don't mean a little messy. We're talking contractors asking questions you did not know you needed to answer, materials arriving late or damaged or both. Simple change orders turn into a domino effect that touches the plumbing, electrical, tile, cabinetry, and your budget. The whole day is consumed with this chaos instead of enjoying the peace and quiet that you moved to the mountains for in the first place. Many homeowners start out with the excitement of partnering with a contractor to tackle their mountain home project. But without a designer, they end up buried in decisions and overwhelmed. So that's why I believe that you should have an interior designer on your side to lead you to the finish line, because that's how you prevent expensive mistakes, protect the budget, and deliver a cohesive, beautifully curated mountain home without that overwhelm. So in this video, we're going to look at the 3 biggest areas where going it alone impacts you and your outcome. We're talking about the financial impact of mistakes, the emotional impact of decision fatigue, and the creative impact of compromise. By the end of this video, you'll see that hiring a designer is not about pricey furniture and fancy finishes. It's about having a seamless process from start to finish. The first impact that going it alone has on your mountain home project is the financial impact of mistakes. Don't get me wrong, I get it. It's natural to look at the line item of professional designer and think, oh, I can pick out the tile and the paint. How hard can it be? I can do this myself and save that fee. Do I want to leave that in there? Why not? Anyway, but here's what I see happen. Without a comprehensive set of design deliverables that interior designers provide, mistakes happen on site. Never fails. Construction deliverables go far beyond just the architect's floor plan. I'm talking about the extensive interior finishes schedule, the detailed interior elevations, tile layout, grout colors, cabinetry specifications, and so many more details that architects just simply don't provide. Now, this is where the project timelines get hung up and where your relationship with your builder is truly tested. So here's a crazy story a builder recently shared with me. He was starting a custom home with a couple and he gave them his usual advice: hire an interior designer. Well, this couple was adamant that they could manage the interior details themselves. Now fast forward to the cabinetry. The builder sends this couple to his favorite cabinet shop, and that shop does what they do best, and they walk the couple through everything related to the cabinets, the layout, the door style, the wood finish, all of it. The clients approve the final design and everything is locked in. A few weeks later, the cabinetry arrives, the crew starts installing it, and halfway through the install, the homeowner shows up on site, and guess what? He hated the design. So he makes them rip out the entire kitchen and start over. Now that decision cost that client, not the builder, not the cabinet shop, because it was nobody else's fault. They approved the design, they didn't like it, they're paying for it. We're talking roughly $150,000 just in the cabinetry alone, not including the labor, the materials, plus the schedule delay and the stress of redoing something that should have been a big win moment. Now, I share that story for one reason. You need someone on your side who owns the vision from start to finish. A professional makes sure that the design actually matches what you see in your head, and just as importantly, that it is planned in a way that your construction team can execute without expensive surprises. Also, as a designer, I'm looking for both the technical side and the beauty that we want to create. Yes, we curate standout finishes and furniture, but we also produce the detailed documents that make it all work. When we specify a fixture or a finish, we aren't just looking at whether it's pretty. We're checking, is it in stock? Will it fit on that wall? Is the scale right for 20-foot ceilings? Imagine this scenario. The plumber's on site for the rough-in and your contractor calls you at work and asks, hey, for that master shower, what valve are we using? Is it a standard pressure balance or a thermostatic valve with a separate diverter? And what's the precise rate flow so the plumber can size the supply lines? I mean, it gets kind of ridiculous, some of the questions that need to be answered on the fly. Most homeowners are not going to have a clue how to address that. So they panic, they start Googling, and meanwhile, the plumber can't wait. He packs up and goes to his next job. Now you've lost the slot on his schedule, and that delays the drywall, which delays the paint, which pushes your move-in date back by weeks. So now you're kind of getting the picture a little bit, I hope. A homeowner simply cannot expect to know these technical nuances, like a junction box or heights for sconces or the rough-in depth for a specific wall-mounted faucet. But the contractor needs those answers to do his job. When you work with a professional design team, we provide a specification book. It lives on the job site and it is the answer key for the whole entire project. When the electrician asks where the outlets go in the kitchen island, he doesn't call you. He opens the book, he looks at our electrical plan and sees exactly where we place them to align with the cabinetry pattern. When the tiler needs to know the grout joint size, it's right there in the specifications. We remove that bottleneck. We ensure that the lack of technical details never holds up your project. The contractor is happy because he can keep his crew working efficiently, and you're happy because you're not fielding panic calls about valve flow rates, for crying out loud. This is why I believe you should have an interior designer on your side to lead you through a clear process to get you across that finish line. Once you understand this belief, it will change how you budget for your entire build. You'll stop asking, can I afford a designer? And you'll start asking, can I afford the risk of building this mountain home without one? By investing in the planning up front, you aren't spending money on fixing things. You're spending money getting exactly what you want the first time. Now, this next area of going it alone is one that catches homeowners completely off guard, and that is the emotional cost of decision fatigue. So I was once chatting with a new friend and her husband about their mountain home build they just did a few years ago. They shared with me that they managed the build by themselves along with their contractor. But by the time construction was almost complete, they were so burnt out from making constant decisions that they started saying, just do whatever, just to keep things moving along. They let the builder make choices that they later regretted. It slowed down the project timelines, and they ended up with a few design decisions that even bother them to this day. They shared with me that they wish they had known me sooner, and they vowed that if they ever built another home, they would call me and get me involved at the very beginning. Building or renovating a custom home involves thousands of decisions, not hundreds, we're talking thousands. From the exterior stone profile to the grout color, to the hardware finish on the kitchen cabinets, to the trim profile on the baseboards. I mean, you get the point, right? When you work with us, we filter all that noise. We don't bring you 500 tile options, we bring you the one that perfectly matches the vibe that we discussed early in our process, that fits the budget and that works with the rest of the space. And don't assume that your contractor is going to automatically do what's best for your project. And I'm not trying to bash contractors. Most of them are hardworking and skilled, but at the end of the day, they are running a business. If nobody is clearly protecting your vision, they'll often choose the option that is the fastest, the easiest, and the best for their schedule and bottom line. I've worked with a lot of contractors over the years, and this pattern shows up more than homeowners realize. Now, here's the one impact that nobody talks about until it's too late. You've survived the budget surprises and mistakes, you've pushed through the decision fatigue, and you're finally moving in, but something feels off. Everything looks fine, it's nice, but it just doesn't feel quite like you. It feels like every other basic new build. And that's because without a designer's creative eye, most homeowners default to what is safe. So this is what I call the creative impact of compromise. You end up going with what the builder suggests, what's in stock, or what's on the first page of a Google search. And you end up with a home that looks, well, kind of builder grade. I'm talking basic tile layout, stock cabinetry with no personality, lighting that checks a box but doesn't really set a mood, finishes that don't talk to each other from room to room. And here's the thing, it's not because you have bad taste. You probably have a Pinterest board full of incredible design inspiration. The problem is translating that inspiration into real three-dimensional space where every material, texture, finish has to work together with the architecture, with the light, with the mountain view outside. That's what a designer does. We don't just pick pretty things. We create a story that runs through every single room. We know that the stone on your fireplace needs to have a conversation with the wood on the ceiling. We know how to take a standard builder layout and add the architectural details, the custom range hood, the beam placement, the unexpected pattern that makes someone walk in and say, wow, this doesn't look like anything else up here. You're spending hundreds of thousands of dollars on a home that could have been extraordinary, and instead it just blends in. And the hardest part is that you can't always put your finger on why it feels flat. You just know that it just doesn't feel the way that you imagined. That gap between what you pictured and then what you got, that's the creative cost of doing it alone. Now, with that said, I want to make life easier for all of you watching this, because there are really only two paths to take. Well, there's three, but I think we already know where that third path is taking you. It's down crazy lane. Path number one, you value your time. You don't want to deal with mistakes. You want a creatively curated home, and you want someone to come alongside you to handle the thousands of decisions and take the reins. If that's you, I'd love to help. We handle all the technical drawings, the sourcing, the logistics. We bring it all together so you can just focus on the excitement of seeing your home come to life. There's a link in the description to book a discovery call so you can tell us more about your project. Now, path number two is that you do have the time and the bandwidth to manage this project yourself, and maybe you just love the hunt of the perfect finishes. And that's awesome, but you shouldn't have to guess your way through it. So I've created a resource called the Home Project Planning Method that gives you the exact checklist and roadmap that we use for our clients. It will help you stay ahead of your contractor so that you never get stuck. And this guide will also help you organize your specifications, ask the right questions before you start, and avoid all those expensive mistakes we talked about. Now, whether you hire us for full service or you use our resources to guide you through the process, the goal is the same. It's to help you turn a complicated mountain project into a home that feels intentional. We recently had a big reveal for a beautiful lake cabin. The client went through our design process, and at the end, they walked in and were almost in tears. She said it's everything we wanted. She didn't have to worry about the cost of redone work, the risk of the emotional burnout from the decision overwhelm, or the logistical nightmares that would have delayed her move-in. When the process is handled correctly, the result is magical. Finally, I want to leave you with this. It's easy to get caught up in what seems like an unnecessary expense of hiring an interior designer. But without professional guidance, or at least a solid plan that our resources provide, your project becomes much more vulnerable to those pitfalls that we covered in this video. If you've already started on your journey, check out the links in our description below, and whatever path you choose, make sure that you enjoy the process, because it is a lot of fun. Oh, and before you go, if you're wondering what does this chick know about about design and construction, check out this video to find out why you should even listen to me. And until next time, be surrounded by beauty. The train. I'm in the Smiley building in Durango, Colorado. We have our famous Durango Silverton narrow gauge railroad. But every day at this time, the train comes back from their morning trip. And I think there's a couple more that come through here in the afternoons. And I forgot about that when I started filming.